today we are going to do a small 20-minute video working on lengthening out the spine to help us run nice and tall when we are running. So the main thing for this little sequence is to make sure that your core is engaged. I'll give you reminders as we go through, but keeping that core nice and tight is going to help us stand a little bit taller, as well as engaging the glutes and also keeping a nice long spine wherever possible. So instead of, we want to avoid rounding the shoulders, as in if we're so often used to looking down at computers or at phones and things like that, our head is so often used to being pointing down, but here we want to keep the chin and the chest nice and proud. So to start with, coming onto your mat, if you want to practice this in trainers, if you're using it before a run or anything like that, that's absolutely fine, but I always prefer to do yoga bare feet, so that's what I'm going to do. So to start off, we'll just do a tiny little bit of breath work just for a second to help us ground down, get ourselves focused and kind of turning inwards a little bit here. So sitting nice and tall on your mat, keeping the legs crossed if that's comfortable. If you prefer to have your legs out, then that's absolutely fine. What I would suggest is a little bit of an aid. If you have got a wall or anything nearby, then just prop yourself against that wall and just use it there to support the back against it. It's going to help us sit a little bit taller. Or if you don't have anything like that, you can use a block or a pillow underneath the sit bones to just help raise the hips a little bit here. So I'm going to push myself back against the wall, sitting nice and tall, maybe rolling the shoulders. Good. Closing the eyes if that feels good, or keeping them open, just with a nice soft gaze. Let's inhale, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Sigh the breath out as you let the shoulders go. Good, twice more. Perfect, one last time. Good. Evening out the inhales and exhales here. Let's inhale through the nose. Pause for a second at the top. And then sigh the breath out again, out the mouth. Good. You could be loud about it if you want. That's the beauty of practicing at home. Checking in on the forehead, behind the eyes, and the jawline. Releasing any tension there. Good. Slowly, when you feel ready, gently blinking open the eyes. If you are against a wall, then just come away from that, back onto your mat. Keeping the legs crossed for now. Let's place the hands onto the top of the knees. Inhale as we round through the spine, dropping the chin towards the chest and taking the gaze to about the belly button. As you next inhale, coming forward, so you're squeezing the elbows and the shoulder blades together as you lift the chin and the chest this time. Exhale to round the spine. Inhale to come forward. Exhale to round. Inhale forward. Good, let's take 3 more here. So you're doing your seated cat and cows. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears as you move. Good, I think I lost count, but I'll call that 3. So, if you have got your legs crossed, let's uncross those, cross them back the other way, so the leg that was behind is now in front. Taking the right hand on the mat beside you. As you inhale, lifting the left arm up and overhead. Exhaling, walking that right hand away from you and diving over towards the right. Let's make sure we're not lifting that left hip here, keeping it nice and grounded. And the right shoulder is away from the ear, so we don't want to be hunched up. Giving yourself lots of space. Good. Inhale as you come to the centre. Take that left hand down onto the mat. The right arm comes up and over as you inhale. And as you exhale, let's walk over to the left. Again, releasing that left shoulder away from the ear, making sure the right hip isn't lifting up off the mat. Keeping that core tucked in here, engaging the pelvic floor. Good. Inhale to come back to the centre. Give yourselves a couple of shoulder rolls here. And then we're going to come up to standing on your mat. So, standing in your Tadasana, your mountain pose, let's make sure that the hips are over the knees and the knees are over the ankles. So maybe that means you have to tuck in the core a little bit here and tilt the tailbone down. Rolling the shoulders away from the ears, the palms facing forward. Let's lift the toes, trying to place them back down one by one. And have a little sway forward and back and to the side and side until you feel like you've found your center spot. Good. Releasing the hands down by your sides. Inhale to bring the arms up and overhead. The right hand is going to take hold of that left hand as we wiggle ourselves up nice and tall. Exhale again, diving over to the right. Making sure we're not sticking that left hip out too far. We're still keeping ourselves nice and grounded on the mat, keeping that core tucked in. Inhale to come back to the center. Swap the hold of the hands. The left hand takes hold of the right wrist. Inhale and wiggle to grow a little bit taller. Exhale as you dive over to the left. Inhale yourself back to center. Good. Release those arms. And now we're going to do that again, but we're going to advance on it. So if that felt good, you can stay there. If you feel like you could go a little bit deeper or you've got a bit more room, then come with me for this little stretch. So inhale to bring the arms up and overhead again. The right hand takes hold of that left wrist. Inhale to grow taller. Exhale as you dive over towards the right. Bending into that left knee, taking it behind the right as you stay high on the tiptoes, bending into that right knee. Kind of like a ballerina pose here. Staying strong in that left heel, pushing that heel away from you on the left-hand side. Good. Inhale yourself back to center. Swap the hold of the hands. Wiggle to grow a little bit taller. Exhale as you dive over to the left. Coming onto the toes of that right foot this time, passing it behind the left. Staying on the tiptoes of that right foot. Bending into the left knee, pushing that right heel away. Engaging the core and the glutes and the pelvic floor here. Good. Inhale yourself back to center. Release those arms. Okay, we're going to ground through that left leg this time. Coming up with that right leg, we're bringing it into about a 90-degree position. Keeping the hands on the hips to start with. If you're a little bit off balance today, come close to a wall and you can use that for balance. Bringing that right knee in. Maybe rolling the ankle a little bit here. Sorry if mine clicks. There it goes. Good. Now we'll take a little bit of a side twist here. So to start with, we'll keep the hands on the hips as we twist the torso over to the right, keeping strong in that left leg. Back into the center. Let's test the balance, go the other way. It's okay if you wobble. Keeping the hips facing forward. Good, back in towards the center. Keeping that right leg where it is. With the left hand, we'll take hold of the out of that right knee. The right arm comes up and behind us as we twist over towards the right. Keeping that core tucked in. Shoulders away from the ears. Good. Slowly bringing yourself back in towards the center. Hands onto the hips. Whew. Released that right leg. Give the left leg a shake out. Good. This time we'll take it onto the other side. So grounding through that right leg. Hands onto the hips to start with. Inhale as you bring that left knee up. Again, rolling the ankles. Hands onto the hips. Let's have a little twist over to the left and right just with the torso. See how the balance is on this side. Maybe it feels different, maybe it feels better. That's okay. Good. Taking the right hand onto the outside of that left knee now. The left hand comes behind you as you twist over towards the left. Keeping that core engaged, shoulders away from the ears. Good. Bringing yourself back in towards the center. Hands onto the hips, release that left leg. Give the right leg a shake out. Perfect. So, we're going to come back down onto the mat now. So let's inhale as you bring your arms up and overhead. Again, let's do that wiggle at the top here to help us gain a little bit more height. As you exhale, folding over the hips, coming into your forward fold. Release the head between the shoulders. Inhale to find your flat back. Hands are on the shins or the thighs, making that L shape with the body. The weight is in the balls of the feet here rather than the heels. Exhale to fold forward. We'll do that twice more. Inhaling back to your flat back, elbows tucked in. Exhale to fold forward. One last time, inhale, bringing yourself back to that L shape. Exhale to fold forward. Placing the hands onto the mat, bending the knees a little bit more, stepping back with the right foot and then the left. We're coming into our first down dog here. Keeping a nice deep bend in the knees. Getting that tailbone nice and high here, releasing the head between the shoulders. Aiming to get the stomach to rest on the tops of the thighs, so maybe that means you have to bend your knees a little bit more, push through the hands to get that tailbone just a little bit higher. Good, turning the eyes of the elbows in, facing each other here, switching on the shoulders. If it feels good, bending into one knee and then the other. Walking out that dog here. Good. When you feel ready, releasing the knees down onto the mat, untucking the toes. We're coming to lay down on the mat now, on your front. Good. Taking the hands behind you, the palms facing down. Resting the head onto the mat. Allow the feet to fall apart here. We're just going to have a little play in our locust. So, as you next inhale, let's lift the chin and the chest. The arms are reaching behind you. So you're aiming to gain length here rather than height. Doesn't matter how high you come, the main thing here is you want to be stretching. So you're reaching forward with the head, the chin and the chest. Reaching behind you with the hands. Shoulders away from the ears. Exhale as you come forward, making a pillow with the hands, shaking the hips from side to side. Good. Inhale back into that locust pose, the hands behind you, lifting the chin and the chest, really engaging the glutes and the core here. Exhale to fold forward. We'll do that once more, inhaling into that locust pose. Really reaching behind you with the hands. Exhale to fold forward. We'll do that 3 more times, either staying where you are, just using the arms here, or if you'd like to get the legs involved, taking the arms back behind you. Inhale as you lift through the chin and the chest, and also allow the feet to rise. So you're making a little dish with the body here, but really pulling away from you. So the hands are reaching back, the feet are reaching back, and the chin and the chest is reaching forward. Exhale to release, making that pillow again. We'll do that twice more. Remember your options, either just the arms, or perhaps you want to do just the legs. Either's up to you. Inhale as you rise, coming to find your locust. Keeping everything engaged here, everything is tight and working. Exhale to release. One last time, inhale, reaching for that locust. Good, exhale to release. Shaking those hips from side to side. Pushing up and back into your first child's pose. Knees nice and wide, toes together as the arms coming out in front. Releasing the forehead onto the mat. Taking 2 more breaths here. Good, slowly coming forward here, staying high on the hands. We're just going to have a little play in plank pose here. So taking the left foot behind you and the right foot coming up nice and high into your tall plank. If that's too harsh on the wrists or the body, you can drop the knees down, untuck the toes. Really engaging the core here, engaging the glutes. Good. Let's take the feet wide, about mat width apart. And then bring the hands in so they're underneath the chest. Really keeping that core engaged as you lift the right hand, tapping the left shoulder. Release back down. Left hand comes to the right shoulder and back down. Right hand to the left shoulder, down. Left hand to the right shoulder and down. If you feel your hips twisting side to side here, then widen the space between the feet. Keep that rhythm going for 5 breaths. Tapping the shoulder with the opposite hand. So we're just strengthening through that lower spine and the core here. Good. I'm shaking already. 2 more breaths. Good. Release the knees back down onto the mat. Come back into your child's pose. Sinking between the hips, hands coming out in front. Oh, release that forehead onto the mat. Allow that breath to settle here. Inhaling, maybe the chest rises. As you exhale, you sink closer to the mat. Good. Slowly as your next inhale, coming up to a seated position on your mat. Crossing the legs here back into a cross-leg position. Let's release some tension in the shoulders here. Bringing that right arm up and over to come behind you. So you're holding the centre of the chest here, the centre of the back. That left arm is coming up, holding onto that right elbow and applying just a little bit of pressure to move that right hand a little bit further down the spine, making sure we're giving the ears and the neck a lot of room to breathe here. So we don't want to be rounding through. We'll open up the chin and the chest, keeping that core engaged. Good, let's take 2 more breaths. Releasing those arms, rolling the shoulders if you're going one way and then going the other. Take it to the other side. The left hand comes up and behind, elbows pointing up. The right arm takes a hold of that left elbow, applies a little bit of pressure. Good, making sure we're giving the chest, the ears and the neck room to breathe here, pushing the elbows back. Good, releasing those arms, rolling the shoulders. Let's find a moment back in our Sukhasana, our seated pose. If you have got that wall, gently pushing yourself back against the wall here, hands resting onto the knees. Sitting nice and tall. Let's just allow that breath to settle. Keeping the core engaged as you sit nice and tall here. And let's bring the shoulders up towards the ears again as we inhale. Exhale as you sigh the breath away. Good, twice more. Perfect, one last time. Good. Allow the breath to settle now, returning to its normal pace. Check in on the forehead, behind the eyes and the jawline again. Release any tension that may have built up. Good. Slowly when you're ready, blinking open the eyes, wiggling the fingers, bringing a little bit of movement back into the body. And for one last little stretch, let's take the hands behind us, clasping the fingers together. Inhale as you push the shoulders down and away, lifting the chin and the chest, so we're opening up the chest. Exhale as you bring the hands in front and clasping the fingers again, rounding the spine. Inhale, taking the hands behind, pushing the shoulders down, lifting the chin and the chest. Exhale to round. Good, let's take 2 more here. Inhale. And exhale to round. Perfect, one last time. Inhale, pushing the hands away, lifting the chin and the chest. Exhale to round. Good, releasing those hands. Rolling out the shoulders. And hopefully feeling a little bit taller. Thank you for joining. joining me, and I'll see you next time.